This call is now being recorded.
All the students, when they are joining the lecture, they should write your name in chat box for the attendance. Write your roll number first and then write down your name. If you don't know your roll number, you will contact with Abdullah Khan sir and you can get your roll number from there. Very good morning to all of you. Today is our third lecture on the design of steel structures. Already we have seen the syllabus marking scheme of the University of Pune because you are learning this subject under affiliation of the University of Pune and you are the students of Maulana Mukhtar Ahmed Naqvi Technical Campus. Already yesterday class we have seen this reference books, IS codes to be used, and we are also seeing one by one each course and their sections, especially the IS 800 2007. It is very important code of practice for your uh, design of steel structure. Some codes are on the loads and some low codes are for the sectional properties of the steel. And all these discussion we have completed yesterday class. Okay, so we are further moving towards the. This also we have seen steel as a construction material. There are advantages, and also we have seen the disadvantages. We have seen the chemical composition because based on the chemical composition, the different strength and properties of steel is dependent. Also, we have seen the types of structural steel, carbon, high strength carbon steel, and stainless steel, etc. Yesterday class. Now, today's lecture we will see the some of the important properties of the steel structure or structural steel. The important mechanical properties of steel are its ultimate strength, or you can say ultimate stress, yield stress, and ductility, weldability, toughness, corrosion resistance, and machine ability. These properties we will see, and the last four properties discussed here, weldability, toughness, and corrosion resistance, machine ability, are very important for durability of material, and it is often associated with the fabrication of steel members. Also, the mechanical properties of steel largely depend on uh, the chemical composition of the steel, heat treatment, stress history, rolling method, and rolling thickness. These are the properties that depends on the mechanical properties of structural steel. Structural steels used for structural work shall conform to IS 2062 2011, that is hot rolled medium and high tensile structural steel. Nowadays, the most commonly used FE is 410 that is ultimate strength. Fe stands for iron, that is steel, and for of the number after that 410 or 500 or 550 etc. It denotes that ultimate strength of your steel. If I will say that it is Fe 410, it means that Fe is nothing but iron or steel, you can say, and 410 is nothing but the ultimate strength, that is if you in Newton per square. Newton per square. The following are the physical properties of structure steels. That is, you can say the ultimate mass of steel. That is, you can say the density rho. That is nothing but 7850 kg per cubic meter. Or you can say that the unit weight of the steel material is the 7850 kg per cubic meter, and the modulus of elasticity or Young's modulus is nothing but 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. This Newton per mm square, sometime you can write down that is MPa, that is megapascal, the measurement of the pressure. So generally, and the Poisson ratio mu for the steel is 0.3. You know all this. These properties are given in your steel table also. Modulus of rigidity G is nothing but 0.769 into 10 to 5 Newton per mm square. And the coefficient of thermal expansion of steel is 12 into 10 to minus 6 per degree Celsius. Every increase of per degree Celsius, the expansion of coefficient of expansion of the steel is 12 into 10 to minus 6. So these are the some of the physical properties which is given in IS 800 2007. Following are the most important mechanical property that are frequently used in design of steel structures. They are nothing but the yield stress of the steel, ultimate stress, Fu of the steel, and minimum percentage elongation. These properties can be obtained by performing tensile test on the steel sample, and it may be tested on the universal testing machine. And the mechanical properties of structural steel product, that is table number 1. It is given in IS 800 2007. You can see here, if the grade of steel is Fe410, and if the thickness of member is less than 20, then the yield stress is 250. But if the thickness of the member is changed or increased, that is 20 to 40, then the yield stress of steel is 240 MPa or 240 Newton per mm square. And when the thickness is again more large, greater than 40 mm, then the strength you can again it is reduced, that is 230 Newton per mm square, that is 230 MPa. And the ultimate stress is nothing but it is same, that is 410, and the percentage elongation is 23. And when you go for the higher grade, Fe440, the yield stress is 300, and based on the thickness, it is decreasing again to 90 and 230. Who is Khan Irshad? Joined very late. Next time I will not admit you when you are late. Khan Irshad, you should remember. The ultimate tensile strength of the Fe4140 is 440 Newton per mm square, and the elongation is 22. And similarly for other two grades of steel, that is Fe490 and Fe540. So that is nothing but when you do the tensile strength test on the steel, you can come to know that. Sunil Wasawe, what is the time? You should join on time. Then you will see the stress-strain relationship between in steel. So you know that the stress-strain curve for steel is initially at the start it is linear. You can see in this region that from O to A, the region O to A, you can see it is nothing but stress is proportional to strain, or you can write down sigma or F is proportional to the strain. Again, there is elasticity in the member from A to B. When the member will go from A to B, the load is increasing, we are increasing the stress, you can say. And the strain also increases, but that is not proportionality. That is, stress is not proportional to the strain, as here strain increases rapidly. Then after point B, the B is the elastic limit, you can say. And after point B, that again increase of the stress, increase of strain is largely, and the material loses plasticity. That's why the point C dash, here you can see that point C dash is referred to as upper yield point. C is the nothing but upper yield point. Okay. So C dash is nothing but upper yield point. Then from C dash to C, when further increase in load, the stress is reducing and strain is increasing, and there is elongation. Then C to D, there is the straight line you can see, and here in C to D, you can see here the stress is not increasing, the strain is increasing with this force. But after the point D, you can see the stress is also increasing strain. So why? Because here we need more load for the deformation, and this portion you can see from D, it is started the strain hardening of your steel, and that need more strain. That's why stress is also increasing up to the point E, and point E is nothing but your ultimate stress or ultimate load capacity of the steel. And then again, when we further increase the load, the stress is decreasing, and the elongation and the strain is increasing. And at point F, the failure point, the fail will occur, and this is nothing but a stress diagram of the steel. So this is the explanation. You can say the part OA. In this region, the stress is proportional to the strain, as told you here, and is called as limit of proportionality. The part AB, small portion, after reaching A, change in strain is rapid compared to that of the stress, but still the material behave elastically up to the limit up to the point B here, and then C dash represent the upper end point, and C represent the lower yield point. Part CD is beyond the point, the material start flowing plastically without any significant increase in the stress, and material undergoes large deformation. This portion, you can see the only deformation is there, and stress is nothing but is any constant. The stress is not increasing at that point, only the increase in strain are shown, and the material undergoes large deformation at point C to D. After part DE, after reaching point D, the strain hardening in the material begins, which necessitate requirement of higher load, uh, requirement of higher load to continue the deformation. This phenomena is also called as strain hardening, and E represents the ultimate stress, that is Fu. And when the stress reaches point E, that is the stress corresponding to the ultimate stress, the necking in material will begin. What is the necking? Before breaking of any material under tension, then the material cross section area is reducing. Material cross section area is reducing before fracture. So that is called as nothing but neck formation or the necking of the material. I will admitting the student, but their attendance will not be counted if they are joining the late. All the students they join on time. So necking of material is after the point E, that is ultimate state. Neck formation is there before the fracture of the material. So this is nothing but you can say it is the neck formation. something problematic. Okay. Then we'll come to again some definition for the, or it is also the mechanical properties of your structural steel. That is ductility. It is defined as the property of material by virtue of which it undergoes large inelastic deformation, or you can say permanent deformation without loss of strength and the application of tensile. Hardness, it is one of the mechanical properties of steel by virtue of which it offers resistance to the indentation and scratch. The hardness of steel is measured by these three types of uh, machines that is used, that is Brinell hardness test, Vickers hardness test, on Rockwell hardness test. These machines are available in mechanical department. Then the toughness, it is one of the mechanical properties of steel by virtue of which it offers resistance to fracture. Ductility is nothing but the ability of uh, material undergoes large inelastic deformation, and that deformation is permanent in nature, and loss of strength are also there. But hardness is nothing but it is a property of steel by virtue of which it offers resistance to the indentation or scratching. The hardness of steel is measured by the Brinell hardness test, Vickers hardness test, or the Rockwell hardness test. Then we come to the toughness of steel. It is one of the mechanical properties of steel by virtue of which it offers resistance to fracture under the action of impact loading. There is impact loading, then it is considered, and toughness is equal to the ability to absorb energy up to fracture. Toughness is generally measured by area under stress strain curve. Toughness is always measured by the area under the stress strain curve. In the fatigue, it is defined as the damage caused by repeated fluctuation of strain, which leads to progressive cracking of the structural element. If continuous loading is there and certain cycling loading is there at any member or any part of your structure, then that is nothing but feeling of fatigue. And a constantly applied load, you can say, that cause the fluctuation on the stresses, and you can say the cyclic progressive cracking of structural element occur, and that is nothing but fatigue. Damage and failure of material under the action of cyclic loading is also, you can say, it is considered until under the fatigue. Then resistance against corrosion. Everyone knows that the steel when come in contact with the atmosphere and harmful, that is moisture content into the atmosphere, harmful gases, they will react with the uh, steel, and it will corrode the steel. So in presence of moist air, corrosion of steel is an extremely important aspect. To avoid corrosion, we are putting a paint over the surface or metallic coating over the steel surface to avoid the corrosion. Now we'll see the different rolled steel sections you can use in this steel structures. So these are nothing but many sections are there. It may be rolled steel eye section, it may be rolled steel channel section, it may be rolled steel angle section. It may be rolled steel, T, and steel flat, sheets, and many other structural elements we are producing for our construction work or as per our requirement. So Indian Standard Junior being IS stand for the Indian Standard. So IS stand for Indian Standard, and J is nothing but the junior, and B is nothing but the beam. So ISJB, when you told them, that is nothing but Indian Standard Junior Beam. Then Indian Standard Light Beam. If you say the light beam, that is ISLB, that is Indian Standard Light Beam. Then Indian Standard Medium Weight Beam, that is nothing but ISMB. Similarly, if wide flange beam is there, then you can say that there is ISWB, that is Indian Standard Wide Flange Beam. Then ISSC, that is Indian Standard Column Section. This is also I section. ISJC, that is Indian Standard Junior Channel. Channel is nothing but, you can say, it is like this. You can say that U type or C type, but it is nothing but it is called as channel section. Indian Standard Junior Channel ISJC, Indian Standard Light Channels, that is ISLC. Similarly, Indian Standard Medium Weight, that is IMC, medium channel. Then Indian Standard Parallel Flange Channel, that is ISMCP, that is for the medium, parallel flange channel. It is denoted by ISMCP. Then for equal angle or unequal angle, both the Indian Standard, we are saying the ISA. ISA referred to Indian Standard channel, angle section. Then ISNT, Indian Standard Normal T bars. If T section is there, section like this is called as T section. If Indian Standard T bars are there, then we can designate as ISNT, that is Indian Standard Normal T. Similarly, ISLT, Indian Standard Light T. ISDT, Indian Standard Deep T bars. The flanges are large. Then Indian Standard Medium T, ISMT, and Indian Standard Heavy T, that is ISHT. These are the different designations of the Indian Standards sections. So we will in today's practical hours also we will see inshallah in detail all these things. Then also the Indian Standard Round section, ISRO round solid section, or Indian Standard Square section. The section square bar, generally we are using this round and square bar for our window grills, railings. You can see the fabrications are using. Then rolled steel sheets and strips. The Indian Standard Steel Sheet section, that is ISSH, and Indian Standard Steel Strip section. You can see the strips are coming up to the length of 6 meters and thickness, and width is very small. Then the flat section, the Indian Standard Flat section, you can see like that. If the width is 50, the width is 50, and this is the thickness is 8 mm. Then we will write the flat as a 50F, 50F. So here 50 stands for width of the flat, and 8 is nothing but the thickness of the your flat section. So these are the Indian standard I section. This is one is the I section. One is the channel section. This is the angle section. This one is the T section. And also round section is in Indian square section. Rolled steel sections are designated as follows. ISRO is for the round section. Indian round section means round section of diameter 10 mm. If you write ISSQ 50 means a square section of each side having a 50 mm. Okay. So these are the different types of structural sections available in the market, and we are incorporating in design of your steel structure. Then also we have seen the Indian standard steel sheet section. Normally we are using for the flooring of the warehouses or platform, raised platform. We are using the sheet section. Also for the staircase and staircase landing, we are going for the industrial structure. And then Indian standard steel strip, the length and the flat. Just now we have discussed that 50 F8, F50 means the flat width and 8 means the thickness. Then what is limit state, that is design philosophy? The limit state is nothing but the acceptable limit for the safety and the serviceability requirement before failure occur is called as limit state. The definition is very important, you can remember. And then when we study the philosophies of the design, we will see in detail this what is the limit state of method. So in 4 lecture we will see all these things, but still we have a time we can discuss over that. The philosophy of limit state design is nothing but limit state design strength and the serviceability, working stress method, ultimate stress method, limit state method, partial safety factor for load and partial safety factor for material. So that we will discuss in the lecture in coming week. So today what we have seen, we will take the recap, and then in lecture number 4 we will see about this methods of design or philosophies of the design. So you will read this working stress method, ultimate load method, and limit state method. These are the different methods earlier used by the designer, and what are the shortcomings and the benefits we will see one by one, and then why our current code is going for this design method. Okay, so we will see one by one what we have done today, and then we will stop today and we will go for the another lecture. So today we have seen uh, the mechanical properties of the structural steel, and also we have seen some of the physical properties of the steel as per the IS 800 2007, that is unit mass of the steel, modulus of elasticity, Poisson's ratio, and coefficient of thermal expansion, etc. Also, this uh, mechanical properties, we have seen the tensile strength of your concrete, tensile strength of your steel, and uh, how the stresses is reduced due to the effect of thickness you have seen here, and also the ultimate strength of the material with their elongation we have seen. We have seen today about the stress strain curve of the steel structure and units of proportionality O to A to B. There is still the elasticity, and C dash is the upper yield point, C is the lower yield point, CD is where there is the no increase in the stress, but strain is increasing, and the plastic deformation or permanent deformation will be there. But after point D, there is a strain hardening uh, of the steel will done, and the stresses are all also increases with the increase in the load, and that is nothing but strain hardening. But at point E, the fracture will be occur uh, due to the ultimate load capacity of your steel. And after that, the fracture. At point E, it is the ultimate strength of the your or ultimate stress capacity of your steel. And after that, it is no more the structural steel is capable of taking the load. And after some deformation, there is no increase of stress, and the fracture will occur at point. So this is what about the stress strain curve of steel. And one important point is that after the point E, that is ultimate load, the neck formation in the member will be done. That it means that the cross section at the place where the failure will occur is reduced, and that is nothing but called as the neck formation. Then other properties or mechanical properties of steel, we have seen the ductility. It is the ability of the steel which undergoes large inelastic deformation, that is permanent deformation without loss of strength under the application of tensile load. And that is very important property for the structure steel we are using, that is ductility. Because due to ductility, large elastic deformation, they will, before failure, they will give the warning. And because in earthquake prone areas or where the seismic activities are large, you are going for the design of such or incorporating such members, those having more ductility behavior or more ductile, and their deformation are large before failure, so that the human lives can be saved. Hardness, it is one of the mechanical properties of steel by virtue of which it offers a resistance against the indentation or scratching. So the hardness of steel is measured by three tests. It may be from Brinell hardness test or Vickers hardness test or the Rockwell hardness testing machines, where you can test scratching or indentation on the metal. Check. Then toughness is nothing but the resistance to the impact loading or impact on the structural steel. and fatigue is due to the cyclic loading. There are certain part of the structural element or structural member will feel the fatigue, and the cracking will occur due to the progressive loading or continuous loading. Then you have seen the resistance against corrosion. Yeah, because you know that the steel, when it comes with the contact with the moisture or moist air, it react with the, and the corrosion will take place, and the corrosion is very harmful for the structure. It will reduce the it will expand the steel, and the some parts of the material will come out, and the cross section will be reducing, and therefore the strength will affect the strength and durability of your structural steel. So generally, corrosion is related with the durability aspect, because durability is nothing but uh, it's just life of the structure yani, be, without deterioration. Then we have seen the different old steel section. There's I section, ISLB light beam, ISMB Indian Standard medium beam, ISHB Indian Standard heavy beam, ISSC Indian Standard column section, and different types of section we are using for all this section for the steel structure we have seen today. Also, we have seen the round section and the square section, and also flat bars, strips, and the sheets using for the flooring. Then now we will come to the what is the design philosophies. So generally, when uh, it is come into the picture, when scientists they will uh, study over the material strength, and also the for the construction of houses and bridges and high rise buildings, they require uh, the good cross section, and it should be durable and economical, and should look aesthetically good. But before, when it comes to the design philosophy, first philosophy is developed, that is a working stress method, that is also called as WSM. Uh, it is this method is based on the behavior of the material at working load only or service load only. What is working load? Working load, yani, uh, the loading or stress capacity of the material up to the elastic limit. So here in working stress method, only the criteria for the designing is nothing but the permissible stresses we are set for the material, and only working load or the stress or strain up to yield strength only considered in this design. So what happened in the working load method, when we are going for working load method, what happened? The cross-section area of the members are too large and uneconomical. Then the designer, they are thinking over this method, and they found that strength of the material is up to its ultimate load. So why we are not going for the ultimate load? Because the strength of material is up to their is ultimate load. Then the second theory or philosophy evolved, that is ultimate load method or ultimate strength method, USM or ULM. So this method, you can see that first we have discussed already this ultimate, this is WSM method. WSM method and ULM or USM method, it is ultimate load method, and last one the limit state method. So you can see there this working stress method, WSM, the uneconomical section is coming out. Then the designer they are thinking about that, and they after that seeing the material strength, so material fails at FU, not at the FY. The material fails at FU. That is ultimate stress of your the material. So then the designer they are taking the ultimate load as a parameter for the designing, and when they are going for design for the ultimate load method, the sections are very thin and cylinder sections are coming into the picture. And what happen? The structure will not fail in the strength, but there is failure in the serviceability condition, and that is the excess to vibration and excess to deflection will come out. And then also this method is also not useful in the serviceability condition. So you know that if there is excessive vibration, you will not go under that structure. You will not go, you will fear. You walk over that substrate and surface is vibrating, you will not walk over it. So there is not comfort in the ultimate load method. Then designers they switch over to the approach. That approach is nothing but in between these two methods, that is working stress method and ultimate load method. And from these two, the middle path is developed, and that method is called as limit state method is developed, and we will discuss it in detail in next class. I request all the students, those who are joined now or those are not joined this lecture, we will inform those students they should join the lecture on time so that we can complete the task early. So today our practical class, and each practical class will be there. It will be completed. You have to complete your term work on time by using the classes, and don't miss the class every day. You should join the class on time. तो प्रैक्टिकल आवर्स के लिए आज मैं पूरा डिटेल में बताऊंगा क्या क्या हमको प्रैक्टिकल के लिए कंप्लीट करना है और आपको क्या वर्क करना है, क्या वर्क ग्रुप में करना है, इंडिविजुअल करना है, ऑल दिस थिंग विल डिस्कस टुडे. And I request all the students they should join on time when their practical class is there. And if you have any question, you can ask with me, or otherwise we will stop here. कोई क्वेश्चन है किसी को, कुछ पूछना है? ओमकार, गुलाम हुसैन, सिंधे, any question? Irshad Khan. Okay, if there is no question, then you should join on the practical class from 11:10. So on Wednesday and Thursday there is practical class. What you have to do and what you have to be kept with you during the practical class, we will discuss and we will complete the task as required. So I will stop this lecture today.